You're alive. Thank God you're alive, you foolish human.
Where? Am I dead?
I remember the light going out first. Not my eyes, the ship. Every panel on the marrow drift died at once, and then the hull peeled open like fruit skin, and then there was no more up or down, just cold and silence and the stupid, distant thought that I hadn't paid off my cargo license yet. My name is Rourke Hale. I fly freight through dead space nobody wants mapped. I was not supposed to be a historical event. I woke up warm. That was the first wrong thing. Warm didn't happen in vacuum. The second wrong thing was her face. She was leaning over me, close enough that her hair, silver, fine as static, brushed my jaw. Her eyes were too large for a human face and colored somewhere between violet and storm gray, and they were full of tears. Not sympathy tears. Grief tears. The kind you cry when you already buried someone, and they sat up in the box. Zinda ho tum, she breathed. Zinda ho, Pagalinson. I didn't understand the words. I understood the shaking in her hands. Where? Am I dead? I managed. Nahi, she said. Abhi nahi. Not yet. Her name, I'd learn, was Illyra Vash. She was Severin, a healer caste, small ears folded flat like a cat's, skin faintly luminous under stress. Her people had been client species to the Karate Dominion for 6 generations, which meant they healed whoever the Dominion pointed them at and asked no questions. She should not have pointed a single instrument at me. Humans were quarantine class. Contact was execution class. She did it anyway because she said watching me die twice in 1 hour had been enough. The confusion came first, hers then theirs. Illyra ran her scanner over my ribs, my skull, the systemic damage that should have made me a corpse 3 hours ago. The wounds were closing. Not slowly. Not with medicine. My own blood was doing the stitching, faster than her instruments could log it. That is not possible, she muttered and ran the scan again. Then concern. A Dominion overseer, a broad-plated officer named Tessek Vern, reviewed her medbay logs remotely, the way superiors always do, looking for a reason to be angry.
He found one.
You harvested a primitive from wreckage, he said through the comm, voice flat with disapproval. Explain. He was alive, Illyra said. I am a healer. He is quarantine cargo. You will hold him for retrieval. She didn't answer that. She looked at me instead, like she was deciding something. Then came the fear, theirs, not mine, because I still didn't understand what any of this meant. Tessek ran my blood markers through the old registry, the archive nobody accessed anymore, because it was ugly history. And the registry screamed back at him. Vanguard strain. Confirmed. I heard him go quiet on the comm in a way that felt worse than shouting. The alarm spread fast after that. Illyra told me later, hands still trembling, that the Vanguard strain was a genetic marker the Dominion thought they'd erased 3 centuries ago, carried by the humans who'd fought the first invasion of Earth to a standstill before the Dominion salted the record books and called us primitive, called us conquered, called us finished. I was not supposed to exist. And my healing wasn't a fluke. It was a signature. The horror set in when Tessek pulled the full biological index and realized the marker wasn't isolated to me. It was dormant, buried in every human genome the Dominion had ever sampled. Not extinct. Sleeping. They lied to their own command, Illyra whispered, staring at the readout like it might rearrange itself into something less catastrophic. They told everyone your species was broken. It was never broken. It was waiting. Then came the catastrophic realization, the one that emptied the color from her face. If one human, alone, wrecked and dying, could self-repair past Dominion medical thresholds, then the quarantine the Dominion had built their entire authority on wasn't a cage. It was a lid on something that had never stopped being dangerous. Fleet orders came through within minutes. Retrieval upgraded to elimination. Illyra didn't argue with her superiors again. She just stopped listening to them. She got me to a hangar bay, through service corridors she wasn't cleared to use, shoved a data core into my hands still warm from the terminal she'd stripped it from. Records, coordinates, the true history of the first invasion. Everything the Dominion had buried.
Take it home, she said.
Let them know what they really are. Come with me, I said, because it seemed like the only honest thing to say to someone who'd cried over a stranger's body and then risked her life for him twice. She smiled, and it was the saddest thing I'd seen all day. My people are still here. Someone has to survive long enough to remember this moment happened. The bay doors opened to stars. I looked back once. She was already walking away, straight-backed, toward whatever punishment waited for her. I flew home slower than I should have, because my hands wouldn't stop shaking, and faster than I thought possible, because something in my blood already knew the way. I went into that wreckage thinking it was the end. I came out of it as the first proof that it never really began.